have you ever wondered, is this man a beta male or an alpha male? A lot of us think we can spot the difference, but I want to offer that it's not always that clear cut and that simple. Some men can give the appearance as if they're an alpha male, but when you dig a little bit deeper, they give away signs, clues that they're actually a wannabe, or what I say, a beta male acting like an alpha male. Okay, so in this video, if you're dating, I wanted to give you some signs to watch out for, so you are aware, so you don't end up wasting your time dating the wrong kind of guys. Before we get started, I just want to let you know I'm a dating and relationship coach. My name is Katie, and I help women attract and keep high quality men and have the best relationship they have ever had. If that sounds like something you're interested in, you've been struggling with dating and relationships, and you want to fast track your path to success in your relationships, then you may want to consider working with me one-on-one. All you have to do is go to the link in my description and book a free consultation there. And we'll see about how we can work together from there. All right, now let's get into the signs. Sign number one, he's a beta male, is he talks a lot, but he doesn't take any action. All right, a beta male, they have a lot of plans, they have a lot of ideas, they are really open to talking about all the plans, all the ideas, all the thinking process, all the things they want. And then they'll also have a lot of justification for why they haven't done the things that they want to do or that they're talking about doing, right? And it's always someone else's fault. It's always the timing's not right. It's always some circumstance in the way. So he does a lot of complaining about the things in the way, a lot of talking about the things he wants and complaining about the things he can't get because of something in the way, and not a lot of action. Someone who is an action taker, don't approach things this way. If I'm an action taker, I don't spend all day long talking about the things I want to do. I will just do it. If we're spending a lot of time talking about doing something, or not doing something, or the reasons why we're doing it or not doing it, then we're not doing the thing. We're just spending time talking about it, right? It's a very different approach to a certain problem, a certain goal. Sign number two, he doesn't like making decisions. He will often delegate the decision-making process to you or someone else. And that's because if he has to make a decision, then there's a chance that the decision could fail, and therefore there's a chance he could be blamed. And beta men don't like to be blamed. They don't like to take responsibility for things because their ego is very fragile. They're very weak inside. Therefore, they would prefer someone else to make the decisions. Therefore, someone else can fail, and therefore he can blame someone else instead. Sign number three, he is very resistant to certain emotions. Now, this is emotions in general. He can't handle his emotions, certain emotions in general, and he thinks there's something wrong with having certain emotions. Now, in a healthy person, like, they can think, I don't like a certain emotion. I don't like feeling angry and I don't like feeling sad, but I also know that being angry and sad is a part of being a human, and it's normal to feel angry and sad some of the time, right? That is in a normal, healthy person, they know how to feel their emotions and process it. In a beta male, they don't think this way. They think there's genuinely something wrong with having those emotions, so they spend a lot of energy and time resisting it, pushing it away. They think there's something wrong with it, and they're very, very opinionated about how it's wrong, and perhaps it comes out in them being emotionally cold. Maybe they'll tell you that other people have described them as emotionally cold, as maybe having anger issues or a temper, signs of toxic relationships, and not being able to control their behavior. Things like that comes out when someone doesn't know how to process their emotions in a healthy way. Sign number four, he is a chameleon. He acts one way with you and acts a different way with other people. beta males don't have a solid sense of self. Their sense of self is derived from the opinions and approval of other people. Therefore, he's going to need to adjust himself and change himself depending on who he's talking to gain that particular person's approval. This is why they act different depending on who's around them. When you're with him, he's acting a certain way, and when he's projecting a certain image of himself, notice how it's all positive stuff, right? He wants to project he's strong, he's smart, he's powerful, he's always something. He's talking himself up, he's projecting this image. And you always have to be suspicious of people who, by the way, are trying to project this image of themselves. You got to wonder, why do they need to do that, right? Where's the flaw here? Because if he's projecting himself as being too perfect, and often these people will, you have to see that as a red flag, as there's something is up here. Why would he need to do that if he felt secure within himself? Also be mindful, if you never see him with other people, if he is like trying to control the environment you see him in, that could be another red flag, that he's trying to hide the fact that he is a chameleon, that he does change himself depending on who he's with, and he knows that behavior, there's something off about that behavior. Sign number 5, he never admits any faults or wrongdoings himself, but he's very quick to criticize other people. If someone is just critical in general, he will be critical of everybody, other people and of himself. So I'm not saying if someone is being critical, that is a sign that he's a beta male. What does give away the sign that he could be a beta male is if he is only critical to other people. Because these men don't have a strong sense of self. Their sense of self comes from the approval of others. So if he was to admit any faults within himself, he would be projecting the wrong image. So he wouldn't do that. So you would see a clear discrepancy there, where it's always someone else that he's critical of or that's doing the wrong thing. He never does anything wrong. He is perfect. Okay, so let me know if you have potentially dated a beta male. What were the signs that let you know that he wasn't who you initially thought he was? Leave that in the comments below and let's have a conversation about that. Sign number 6, he shares inappropriately, especially early on in dating. Right, this is different from someone who is just naturally someone who shares. They don't think before they share stuff, right? There's some people who just say stuff, they share things openly, they don't think before they speak. Right? A beta male, he would share things, but there would be a reason behind the sharing. Right? There's a reason behind it. So if he's sharing inappropriately, something that, he's spending 20 minutes, for example, talking about an ex or talking about the last girl he went on a date with and how all the stories and the details behind it, that you feel like that's a bit inappropriate on a date with me. The reason he's doing that is probably because he wants you to feel bad. Like he's painting himself as the victim, so you feel sorry for him, so you feel bad for him, and therefore you may feel this sense that you need to take care of him, that you need to boost him up, right? Praise him a little bit, so he feels better about himself. And that he does this because he doesn't know how to handle his emotions, okay? So he says all of this to you in a way so you feel like you need to take care of his emotions, so you can become his emotional caretaker. He's looking out for that. He's looking out for like a mother figure almost that will take care of him emotionally. Sign number 7, he is not happy with himself. He doesn't have a high opinion of himself. All of his opinions of himself that he talks about is just to impress you. His actual opinion of himself is very, very, very low. Right? Like I said, they don't have any sense of self. Their sense of self comes from the approval and praise of other people. So everything he says, he's either talking himself up to make himself appear perfect and, what he wants you to think of him, or he's doing it in a way where he's painting himself as the victim, kind of putting himself down a little bit. So you feel bad for him, so you end up propping him up, praising him, and stroking his ego so he feels good about himself. So whatever he says, whatever he does, it all comes from needing someone else to make him feel good about himself, because he doesn't know how to do that by himself. So number 8, he constantly goes against his own values to please other people. Okay, so like I said, he is a solid people pleaser, approval seeker, and he will do things, or he believes he has to do certain things to gain other people's approval, even if that goes against his own value system. He thinks that's just the way it is because his sense of self is derived from other people. But when he does this, he also ends up being very destructive in his own life with the people around him. Okay, so what that will mean is he will feel resentful of him feeling like he needs to do this thing that he really doesn't want to do. And whilst he's feeling resentful, he will blame you for how he feels, or whoever's around him for how he feels, and therefore that it's your responsibility, or whoever's around him, to make him feel better about himself, right? It's always someone else's fault. Someone else is always responsible for how he feels, and he's always the victim. Sign number 9 is victim mentality. To me, in this sense, is really abdicating our responsibility for ourselves and our life to someone else or something else. Okay, so if the way he makes decisions and the reason he did certain things and the reason he behaves certain way is because of something outside of him, that is, in my opinion, some definition of a victim mentality, right? I'm only this way because someone told me I needed to be this way. I'm only this way because I thought it would make this person happy. I only made this choice because this person told me so, or because of this happening, right? It's always something external that seems to be guiding this person's direction in life, and it's not guided but by their own internal values and what they genuinely want, right? It's always like what someone else wants them to do, or how someone else makes them feel, right? Or what something else has brought up in them. It's just a thinking process. It's not always them crying, poor me, poor me. It's just this idea that everything they choose, most things they choose and decide, all the big decisions anyway, comes from external things rather than from within. And number 10, he abandons quickly, abandons everything. This goes to everything in his life. He abandons work, relationships, projects, people, everything. Okay, and the reason he abandons things quickly is because he would rather quit ahead of time than follow through to the end and potentially fail. This is especially the case if he senses a fail potentially coming. He would rather quit and abandon it way ahead of time than to follow it all the way through. Okay, so that would mean this person quits lots of things, right? You just ask them a couple of questions about their about life in general and what they've done. He'll probably come out like, oh, I quit. Maybe I quit a job. I quit university. I quit this project. I left that relationship. I mean, it's going to be a sign of this all over the place, right? It's not just going to be in relationship. It's going to be in all areas of his life. And that is because beta males, they're weak, right? They derive their sense of self from external things. Therefore, they don't have the strength their ego can't handle rejection. They can't handle a fail because they take that personally. Therefore, they would rather abandon things ahead of time than to actually follow it through and potentially fail. They believe they're weak and they can't handle the fail. They can't pick themselves back up and they can't overcome the fail. So you'll see a lot of quitting all over the place. So that's my video for this week. This video is a lesson on being discerning in the beginning. Don't take what men say as true. Don't just believe everything he says. I really look for what is underneath what he is saying or what he is not saying. This video will help you decipher that, and then for you to make a much more informed decision on whether you want to continue dating him. And if you also are serious about attracting and keeping high quality men, then just go to the link in the description. From there, you can find out more about potentially working with me as well. And if you enjoyed this video, please like me, subscribe to my channel. If you'd like more videos on dating and relationships and picking high quality men, subscribe to my channel and wait for the bell notification for new videos. Right, that's all from me this week.